What's going on today, YouTube? Today we're back with another video about the pool of social media and how it influences us. Another video by Joe Rogan. Let's get this video started and talk about it.
So as we evolved, boredom is this evolutionary discomfort that basically told us whatever you're spending your time on right now, it's not an efficient use of your time. So go find something else. Now in the past, this would be like, let's say you're picking berries from a bush. You've picked the easiest to pick ones. Well, if we didn't have this cue of boredom, we'd be like reaching into the very back for the berries that are hard to pick, but they become successively harder to pick because we've picked all these different ones, right? Boredom would kick on and be like, hey, your return on your time invested has worn thin. Move on to another bush, right? But nowadays, with this influx of media we have, people spend 11 hours a day engaging with digital media.
That's crazy. 11 hours a day on social media. I mean, I understand if you're an influencer or you got millions of followers and you're trying to make money off of it, but if you're just scrolling through it for 11 hours a day, that's horrible. Like I try to stay off Instagram and stay off TikTok. TikTok's horrible for you, and they also hack your phone too.
Media.
Is that real?
Yeah, 11, and that's the average. So
What?
you want to hear an even crazier thing?
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm a professor at University of Nevada, Las Vegas, and one of the classes I teach is an intro class. So it's got about 150 students, and it's a media class I teach in the journalism department. First day of class, I'll talk about how things have changed with media. You know, it's like we lived 2.5 million years with no media in our lives, and now it's become our lives. And then I will ask,
There's so much intake of information. Your brain is always working. Like when you're scrolling through Instagram for an hour or two straight, your brain's just working, comprehending and bringing in that information, right? But if you output information and you tell people things, it's better for you because you learn these things, and then if you re-output them, you're doing something. If you just take them in and learn them and then you don't say nothing about them, you know them, but you're not explaining it to anyone to help anyone else know.
all right, I want everyone to pull out your phone right now. I want you to look at your screen time. Tell me how much you have. Who thinks they have the highest? We'll start to go through people. I've had people, 7 hours, 45 minutes, 8 hours, 50 minutes, 9 hours, 16 minutes. It's like, that's your entire day, all on that cell phone, right? So nowadays,
And I'm not going to lie, I do kind of have a problem with this, not with social media, but with video games. Like, on the weekends, when I'm not going to school, I like to play video games, and I like to just play video games, bro. And to a degree, it's fun, but to also a degree, it's a problem. Like, you got to realize that you got to grow up in life, and you don't got time to be playing these video games. You got to be making money. You got to be getting in the gym. You got to be doing martial arts and improving your life in multiple ways.
when we have this discomfort of boredom kick in, we have a super easy escape from it. Right? We're not forced to be like, okay, what am I doing with my time? Is there something better I could be doing? We just pull out our phone. And you see this, right? Anytime people have one
That guy's a nice
moment
watch on.
of solitude or inactivity, it's like, oh, might as well just check my phone.
It's brutal when you see people on dates.
Oh,
They're
yeah.
not even talking to each other. They're just looking at each other's phones.
Yeah.
It's
Go.
like, wow.
People at dinner. It's like,
Yeah.
That's horrible if you do that to someone, in my opinion. If you go out on a date with a girl and you're just sitting on your phone the whole time talking to somebody else or scrolling through, that's disrespectful, bro. You gotta be talking, you gotta be making eye contact
In front of an actual person.
Yeah.
And you prefer to communicate in digital with someone who's not even there.
Totally.
the digital realm.
And what's interesting about boredom is oftentimes when boredom would kick on, we would go inward, sort of mind wander. And mind wandering, it gives your brain some time to like reset and revive. Whereas anytime you're focused on the outside world, your brain is actively processing information. So this is kind of like in the book, I compare it to lifting a weight. When you're having a conversation, looking at your phone, watching a screen, whatever you're doing, if you're focusing on the outside world, your brain is working and it's lifting. When you go inward, your brain goes into this default mode network, which is like a rest period, right? So now...
That's what I've been also looking at as well, self-hypnosis. you're supposed to when you fall asleep, because when you unconnect from consciousness, when you go to sleep, right? They don't know you. It's like you have a whole different subconscious brain. So if you can control your subconscious, the whole thing is, if you can control your subconscious brain and dream lucid dreams and be able to live the life you want in your dreams, you'll be able to program your reality into those dreams and have that life. And if you see it and you believe it, if you imagine it in your head, you see it, you believe it, you feel it, you smell it, you touch it, whatever, if then you figure out what you got to do to get those things, it'll come true.
Because every time
Especially if you're speaking positive
we're
about
bored, we
it
just
too.
pull out that screen and focus.
Not saying I want these things, but saying I will have these things. I will get these things. It might take time and dedication and effort, but I will get these things.
More. Our brains are just constantly being worked and overworked and overworked. And this is associated with just burnout, anxiety, etc.
Yeah, there's some real benefits to boredom in terms of creativity as well. Like,
Oh, totally.
boredom is really good for coming up with new.
And also, when you're, I think, he was saying when you're 7, your brain is on a lower frequency called theta, Theta. I'm pretty sure it's how it's spelled. And that's what imagination comes from. Like when you're a little kid, your imagination, it's crazy. You're playing with toys and it's crazy because you imagine it like his big ass shit. And he was saying that that's where imagination comes from. So if you can kind of reprogram your mind and your subconsciousness, you'll be able to have that imagination again and go out and do those things and achieve things.
Ideas.
Yeah, and there's actually research behind this. They've done studies where they'll have people watch something really boring, like a video of people folding laundry, just like they bore the shit out of these participants, and then they have them come up with take these different creativity tests that scientists use, and the people who were bored come up with better solutions and responses than the people who had been stimulated the whole time.
Because when you're bored, you actually have to think. What do you actually have to think in your mind and then get your mind running, and then you got to actually think. When you're stimulated the whole time, your brain's focusing on that. You can't actually sit down, do something, and like remember it, focus on it the whole time, because your brain's being stimulated by all this different stuff.
And you think about this, I mean, just in terms of anecdotes from creators, it's like you need time to just sit and be with yourself and have these weird ideas bubble to the surface. If you never have that, you're not letting the weird stuff come out, you know? I mean,
Yeah.
do you experience this when you're trying to think of stuff in your own work?
Yeah, you have to have discomfort. The worst thing that can ever happen to me if I'm writing is to just open the browser and
Yeah.
start. Let me just Google this real quick and see. It's like I'll play little games with myself. Like I'll be in the middle of writing. I'm like, what does that mean really? And then I'll Google it and like, shut the fuck up and get back to work.
Yeah.
Because like I'm just being distracted. I'm just distracting myself. And sometimes I'll allow myself a couple of minutes of distraction before I get mad. But really, I shouldn't allow myself any. I should just keep working. And sometimes people say, I can't write. I just stare at the screen and nothing comes out. I'm like, yeah, that's what's supposed to happen.
Because you got to think.
Yeah.
That's how it works, man.
You
You're
can't just,
supposed
if you're stimulated, you can't think. Like, that sometimes when I'm making these videos, I just sit here for like 20, 30 minutes looking for a video, thinking about what I'm going to say. Because you got to think and you got to plan. If you're stimulated the whole time, you're not able to do that.
stare at the screen.
Yeah.
And then you just write some nonsense, and eventually something good will come out of that.
Yeah.
But if you just bail because you don't like the staring at the screen part and nothing's coming out, guess what? You're never going to write anything.
Exactly.
Congratulations. So then you'll be at the whim of whatever random spontaneous creativity just pops into your head throughout the day.
Yeah.
And sometimes you'll get some, and sometimes you won't.
Yeah.
But Pressfield talks about that in The War of Art. Have you read that book?
I haven't read that book,
It's really,
but I've heard
it's a
about
very
it.
small book, but it's really good. It's great for writers. And he's basically says, he talks about the muse as if the muse is a real thing. And he's like, treat it like it's a real thing. Treat it like you're a professional and you're there to summon the muse. And if you just show up every day and do that work, it will come.
That's it. That's an interesting way to think about it. I've actually never thought about it like that before. The muse, if you just go and do it every day, the outcome will happen. That's good advice right there.
It will come to you and it will bestow upon you these creative ideas. But if you don't do that, if you don't sit down and be be uncomfortable rather, it won't happen. And
that's about anything with life. If you have to put yourself in uncomfortable situations to be able to advance and make progress.
This day and age, like you said,
like if you want to start a martial art, you got to go sign up. You got to go there when the days are open and go do it. You got to put yourself in uncomfortable situations. Like if it's boxing or karate, you got to get hit. You got to hit back. You got to hurt, be sore. But if you show up every day, the outcome of it will be worth all the time that you spent there. And if you enjoyed the walking more than the destination, that's what's really good.
And we're so accustomed to having any boredom alleviated by our phone.
Yeah. So in the book too, I talk about, you hear all this stuff that's like, break up with your phone, less time on your phone. Here are 1,000 different ways to use your phone less. Yes, that is important. But the problem is a lot of times when people go, okay, I'm going to use my phone less. So they put their phone in, a safe or whatever weird habit they've developed. But then they go watch Netflix. It's like your brain doesn't know the damn difference between the screen on your phone and the screen on your TV. The point is that you need to remove yourself from this outside media that's totally just weaved its way into your life. Like,
yeah, that is true. Because if you think about it, I forgot what they were saying, something about with your eyes, that it's not even, it's connected to your central nervous system. It's not even connected to your brain. That's how we perceive color. Pretty interesting video. I'm not going to finish it all because this video is getting pretty long now. Let me know what y'all think about social media in the comments and about what else I was talking about. Some pretty interesting stuff. I will catch y'all on the next one. Y'all have a good night.